Hello everyone, and a big warm welcome to Old Pentland Cemetery, which was originally the site of a 13th century parish church, predating Rosslyn Chapel nearby. It's located just outside Edinburgh, close to Straiton and the city bypass, and, in my eyes, is truly a small hidden gem with lots of fascinating history. It was located near the old Pentland village, which now no longer exists, except for a few scattered houses. Around 100 years ago, it would have been a busy town of around 1,000 people, many of whom relied on the local shale mining industry to make their living. Sadly, the village went into terminal decline when Edinburgh Council closed down the mining industry to protect the city water supply. The 13th century church that once stood here served as the local parish church until the St Clare's of Rosslyn built the famous Rosslyn Chapel nearby in the mid-15th century. The Pentland barony was bought by the Gibson family in 1633, although they never actually made it their family seat. And I'll show you their family mausoleum located here later, which is just over there. After the village was demolished, the cemetery was largely forgotten and sadly vandalised until it was saved by the Pentland Conservation Group in the early 1990s. Its early origins are pretty much lost in the mists of time, but we know that a pre-Reformation church existed here in the 11th century from old church records. The cemetery has a really melancholy feel to it, and while I'm a bit of a skeptic and scientifically minded, there is a palpable air of sadness, which I think may be linked to its association with the Battle of Rullion Green in 1666, when around 1,000 Covenanters were defeated in the Pentlands by royal troops, many of whom are believed to have been buried here after the battle. It's also thought that some may even have escaped here to be treated for their wounds. It's probably all in my head, but there is a real atmosphere here which truly fascinates me. It would take a video many hours long to go into all the history and significance of this site. But today I'm going to tell you a little of the history of all my favourite things here, including the battle which I've just mentioned, the Gibson Mausoleum, the Watch House, and Arnold stones, the Covenanter stones, and last but not least, a 13th century gravestone found here, which is now in nearby Rosslyn Chapel. Firstly, I want to show you these wonderful yew trees which protect the entrance to the graveyard. Yew trees have significant meaning in Scotland. They represent immortality and resurrection due to their ability to regenerate, and are often planted in Scottish churchyards for their symbolism and to mark the boundary between life and death. Here you can see them planted at the entrance to protect the souls of the dead. They're really rather wonderful. From their shape, it's actually quite easy to see which way the wind prevails over the cemetery. This is the grand classical Egyptian-styled mausoleum, which was built by the well-known architect Thomas Hamilton for the Gibson family, who used to own the surrounding Pentland estate. Hamilton was a leading architect of his day and built the Royal High School on Calton Hill in Edinburgh, and also the Old Dean Orphanage, which is now the Gallery of Modern Art too. So it wouldn't have been cheap to build. It was built for Mrs. Helen Gibson, who died in 1843, and also commemorates her parents, Sir John and Henrietta Gibson, who died in the late 1700s. On a side note, it's interesting that she was actually baptised in Corstorphine Parish Church, over that side of the city where I actually grew up. The family itself resided at Dury in Fife, and many were lawyers, including Sir Alexander Gibson, who was made a law lord in 1621. The most recent Gibson to be laid to rest here was the Laird of Pentland, Jack Gibson, who died in 1992, not that long ago. It's difficult to make out, but you can see the family coat of arms with the motto, which I think it says, excuse the pronunciation, Pandite Celestis Porte, roughly translating, I think, to Open Ye Heavenly Gates, or something similar. This watch house at the entrance to the churchyard has been completely rebuilt after falling into ruin. It was originally built in the 1700s for families to look out for grave robbers or resurrectionists who would dig up bodies to sell to anatomists in Edinburgh for dissection, a really grisly thing. Interestingly, one of the information boards here tells of a grave robber called John Gardner, who in 1742 was reported in the newspaper the Caledonian Mercury as digging up a child's body from the graveyard. He was caught carrying the body at the city gates in Edinburgh and brought to justice. Sadly, there's no mention of what his sentence was or what actually happened to him. It'd be really interesting to find out more from the actual newspaper report. If you look inside the watch house, you'll see two remarkable stones called the Arnold stones. They've obviously been placed here to protect them, but were discovered by Thomas Arnold in 1856 and used as coping stones in the churchyard wall near the entrance. They're beautifully decorated with a fleury cross head and are thought to date back to the 13th or 14th century. Floriated crosses typically have 4 arms ending in a fleur-de-lis, which is a stylised lily often linked to French royalty and in Christian art the Holy Trinity. You may remember earlier I told you about a gravestone found here, which is now in nearby Roslin Chapel. And it's entirely possible the stones also belong to crusading knights of the Knights Templars, who had their headquarters nearby at Temple. The stones are really remarkable survivors, and it's great to see them being protected and looked after here. As I mentioned, the graveyard, at least to me, has a slightly unsettling and sad feel beyond that which you'd expect of an old churchyard. It's believed that many Covenanters from the nearby Battle of Rullion Green in the Pentlands of 1666 were buried here in unmarked graves, and 2 Covenanter stones are actually marked on a map of the graveyard near the entrance, which I'll show you now. It's interesting to note that 18th century Scottish gravestones are nearly always orientated east to west as they are here, and the part which contains the identity of the individual usually faces towards the Holy Land. If you have a look at this stone here, you can see the 2 hourglasses beside a skull. It's one of my sort of favourite, if that's the right word, sort of funeral iconography. And it's really a symbol of death and the end of time. It may also be a symbol of rebirth and kind of a new beginning, you know, if you were to turn it over. And the winged hourglass, which you sometimes find in other graves, is kind of just meant time flies or representative of man's kind of fleeting time here on this planet. I stumbled across this grave here, which is in really poor condition, but what really caught my eye was these snakes or serpents. And I haven't seen this too much on gravestones in Scotland. I'm sure there's lots of them, but I think I'm right in saying that from Pictish stones, they kind of represent an entrance to an other world. But I think given that this dates, I think says 1753, 1759, I suspect that because it's 18th century, they might have been a member, Freemasons, or I do know from my studies on stones in Edinburgh that a snake wrapped around something like a staff often represents healing and knowledge. So they might have been a healer or even a doctor of sorts, but who knows? But it is really amazing. This is another really fascinating grave. You can probably just about make out some spades. I think if I just come down a little bit, you can probably see the bottom of the spade there. And essentially, these were often memento mori. I think you might just be able to make that out carved in the stone at the top there. And it was basically remember death, a reminder of death and how fleeting our lives are. I think also from memory, I think it can also mean that they maybe worked with tools, maybe in agriculture, given it's a spade. It's a possibility. This beautiful carving on this grave to George and Charles Brown, I think that's what it says on the other side, has to be one of the most beautiful carvings I've ever seen on a gravestone. It's absolutely beautiful. I think they might be lilies at the top. And it's really quite remarkable, the detail in that kind of bouquet of flowers. And I think it just goes to show the skill of the mason who made it. This is another beautifully carved stone with these wonderful drapes or curtains, if you like. And I've always thought that they must represent kind of like the curtain or a veil to the other life, another world. And I think if you just have a look up here, you'll see this wonderful carving of an urn with a drape or curtain over it. It's to Sir Charles Umferston Aitchison. And this was often a way of kind of protecting the soul as it went up into heaven. I think this gravestone stands out. It's not only very striking, but you can actually see at the top here, I'll just move in a bit closer, the symbol of the green man, and you can sort of see greenery kind of sprouting out of his head. And it's an interesting image, the green man, because I've done a lot of research, and really there is not a huge amount known about the Green Man's origins. I mean, I think people think he's probably pre-Christian, but I think probably on gravestones it probably represents kind of regeneration or rebirth. I remember reading a great phrase somewhere, I think it's along the lines, as the tree blooms again after winter, so the soul will live again in the heavens. And I think really greenery is just conveying this idea that the soul kind of goes on, if you like, rebirth, regeneration. But it's fantastic. I really like this grave. It's very, very, very striking. There are also initials at TSIH. I'll maybe do a bit of research to find out who they represent, because there's no actual inscription that's lasted on the grave other than that to give an indication of who it memorialises.
Thoughts of you bring me back to times I thought we'd always have. Who knew the world could spin so fast? I didn't. I write letters to you in my head, things we did, things we said. Today I heard someone say your name again. In your hopes and dreams, in your memories, in the songs we sing, in the ones we leave, we carry on. But no one is ever gone. No one is ever gone. No one is ever gone. In your hopes and dreams, in your memories, no one is ever gone. I think about a better place and learn to live with the heartache between the nights and days that wash away. And every time I think of you, I feel you in the things I do. With every step, you're in my every breath. In your hopes and dreams, in your memories, in the songs we sing, in the ones we leave, we carry on. But no one is ever gone. No one is ever gone. No one is ever gone. In your hopes and dreams, in your memories, no one is ever gone. I don't wanna keep going on without you. Grow around the pain if I have to. So I'll make a space inside my heart where no one is ever gone. In your hopes and dreams, in your memories, in the songs we sing, in the ones we leave, we carry on. But no one is ever gone. In your hopes and dreams, in your memories, no one is ever gone. In the songs we sing, in the ones we leave, we carry on. But no one is ever gone. No one is ever gone. No one is ever gone. In your hopes and dreams, in your memories, no one is ever gone. Thoughts of you bring me back to times I thought we'd always have. Who knew the world could spin so fast? I didn't.
Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed seeing this wonderful and fascinating place. Before I go, I must give lots of credit to all the volunteers and gardeners who make such a good job of looking after this special place. And if you visit, please look after it to keep it special. As always, I've done all the hard work and research myself, the old-fashioned way, without AI and all that. And I want to thank everyone who's subscribed. You're supporting a real human, me, who's very passionate about Scotland. Thanks for watching and see you all again soon. Bye for now.
Times I thought we'd always have. We knew the world could spin so fast.